My children announced they would be taking over communication with the extended family on a Tuesday evening in September. We were sitting in my living room, the kind of room I'd spent 30 years filling with comfortable furniture and framed photos of reunions I'd organized. The announcement came during what I thought was a casual dinner visit. "Dad, we've been talking," my son Derek said, setting down his fork with theatrical precision. He was 28, wore expensive glasses he didn't need, and worked in marketing for a tech startup that sold something I still couldn't explain to anyone. "We think it's time the younger generation took the reins on family coordination." My daughter Melissa nodded beside him, her phone already in her hand. 26, blonde highlights fresh from the salon, always recording something for her social media channels. She had that look she got when she thought she was being helpful, eyes wide, smile practiced. "You've done so much for so long," she said. "We want to give you a break." I looked at my wife, Karen. She was cutting her chicken with slow, deliberate strokes, not looking up. Her jaw was tight. She knew something I didn't yet. "A break," I repeated. "Exactly," Derek said. He leaned forward, elbows on the table. "You're always stressed about the planning, the schedules, the vendor calls, the coordination. Let us handle it. You've earned some rest." I'd been organizing family events since before either of them was born. Reunions, anniversary parties, holiday gatherings. I'd built relationships with vendors across 3 counties. I had spreadsheets going back to 1995. I knew every cousin's dietary restriction, every aunt's mobility issue, every uncle's tendency to show up 2 hours late. "We're just trying to help," Melissa added, her voice dripping with that false sweetness that made my teeth ache. Karen finally looked up. "How thoughtful," she said, her voice flat as concrete. "So you're okay with it?" Derek asked me, ignoring his mother's tone. I shrugged. "Sure. If you want to take it on, go ahead." The smile that crossed Derek's face should have warned me. It was too wide, too satisfied. Like he'd just closed a deal. They left 20 minutes later. Karen and I cleaned up in silence. When the last dish was dried and put away, she turned to me. "You know what they're doing, right?" "Taking over family communication," I said. "Taking credit for your work," she corrected. "Watch. They'll erase you from everything you built." I didn't believe her then. I thought my kids were just young and enthusiastic, maybe a little misguided. I thought they genuinely wanted to help. I was wrong about a lot of things. The first week, I watched the family group chat with detached curiosity. Derek and Melissa had renamed it Family Connect, New Leadership. They posted announcements about upcoming events using templates I'd created, language I'd written. They just changed the signatures. Messages from relatives started appearing. Questions about the big anniversary party in November. My parents' 50th, an event I'd been planning for 8 months. Simple questions. What time? What should we bring? Is there parking? The messages sat there, unanswered. Day after day, I watched them pile up. My cousin Rachel asked 3 times about hotel recommendations. My Uncle Frank needed to know about wheelchair accessibility. My Aunt Jennifer wanted to coordinate a group gift. Nothing. I didn't intervene. I told myself they were learning. They'd figure it out. Karen watched me, watching the chat. "They're not going to answer," she said one night. "They will," I said. "They won't. They don't actually want to do the work. They want the credit." I refreshed the chat. 23 unanswered messages now. The call came on a Thursday afternoon. I was in my office, really the spare bedroom I'd converted into a planning headquarters, when my phone rang. My cousin Rachel, the one who'd been asking about hotels. "Hey, Tom," she said. Her voice was careful, confused. "I hope this isn't weird, but I wanted to call you directly." Not weird at all. What's up? "Well, I've been trying to get information about the anniversary party. I posted in the group chat, but..." She trailed off. "But nobody answered," I finished. "Yeah. And then Derek called me yesterday. He said you'd retired from planning. He said you were dealing with burnout and needed to step back. He said they were handling everything now. The words hit me like cold water. Retired. Burnout. Stepping back. I hadn't retired. I wasn't burnt out. I'd been erased. Rachel, I said slowly, I'm going to forward you something. Check your email in about 2 minutes. I hung up and opened my planning files. The real ones, with every detail of the anniversary party meticulously documented. Venue confirmed and paid for. Catering finalized. Entertainment booked. Transportation arranged. Guest list verified. Schedule printed. I'd spent 8 months on this. 240 days of phone calls, negotiations, coordinations, and confirmations. Every vendor knew my name. Every detail was locked in. I attached the master file to an email. In the body, I wrote, Rachel, here's the complete schedule for the anniversary party. I've been planning it since February, and everything is confirmed and ready. I have not retired, I am not burnt out, and I have not stepped back. I don't know why you were told otherwise. If you have questions about the event, you can call me directly at any time. Tom. I sent it. Then I sent the same email to 12 other relatives who'd asked questions in the group chat. Within an hour, my phone started ringing. By evening, the family group chat exploded, not with questions anymore, with accusations. Derek's message came first. Dad, what are you doing? We told everyone we were handling this. Melissa followed. You're undermining us. We're trying to take responsibility and you're sabotaging it. My Uncle Frank, who never minced words. Derek, son, if you were handling it, you would have answered our questions. Tom's been planning these things since before you were born. What made you think you could just take over? Aunt Jennifer. I'm confused. Derek told me Tom was too stressed to continue, but these files Tom sent show months of detailed planning. What's going on? The chat became a battlefield. Half the family demanding answers from Derek and Melissa, the other half trying to understand what was happening. I didn't respond. I just watched. Karen sat beside me on the couch, reading over my shoulder. Told you, she said. My phone buzzed with a direct message from Derek. We need to talk. Tomorrow, lunch. I typed back. Sure. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed replaying the past few weeks, the announcement about taking over communication, the unanswered messages, the lie about my retirement, the word they'd used, burnout. They hadn't just tried to take over my role, they'd tried to rewrite the narrative, make me look weak, incapable, finished. Around 2 a.m. I got up and went to my office. I opened the family group chat on my computer, the desktop version that showed more history. I scrolled back through weeks of messages, looking for something I remembered seeing briefly before it disappeared. There. A deleted message from 3 weeks ago. From Melissa to Derek, in a sub-thread I'd only glimpsed before she removed it. I'd screenshotted it reflexively when I saw it, something my job in logistics had taught me. Document everything. I opened the screenshot, read the words again. God, can you imagine Dad's face when we finally tell everyone this was our planning all along? He's going to look so pathetic. All those years doing this and he never thought about branding or social media reach. We're going to make the family actually relevant. Below it, Derek's response. The old man doesn't even realize we're positioning ourselves to take over his consulting business too. By the time he figures it out, we'll have all his clients. I sat in the dark, staring at those words on my screen. They weren't just taking over family communication. They were taking over everything, my reputation, my legacy, my business, and they thought I was too pathetic to notice. I printed the screenshot, placed it in a folder, went back to bed, but I still didn't sleep. While you're here, hit the hype button, don't forget to subscribe and support this channel with a like. And tell us below, have you ever faced something like this? The brunch place Melissa chose was exactly the kind of spot I'd never pick myself. All exposed brick and Edison bulbs, menu written in chalk on a wall-sized blackboard, servers wearing denim aprons. Everything cost twice what it should. The coffee came in tiny cups that couldn't keep anything warm. I arrived first, chose a table in the back corner where we could talk without the entire restaurant listening in. Derek and Melissa walked in together 15 minutes late, which I knew was calculated. Derek wore a blazer over a t-shirt. Melissa had her phone mounted on a little tripod in her purse, probably recording for content. Her husband Brent trailed behind them, already looking bored. "Dad," Derek said, sliding into the booth across from me. "Thanks for meeting us." "Wouldn't miss it," I said. The server came. They ordered elaborate brunches with substitutions and modifications. I ordered coffee and toast. "So," Melissa began, arranging her cloth napkin with precise folds, "we wanted to clear the air after yesterday's confusion." "What confusion?" I asked. "The emails you sent," Derek said. He was using his business voice, the one he probably practiced in the mirror. "They created some misunderstanding in the family. I forwarded them the schedule," I said. "They asked questions. I answered them." "But we were handling it," Melissa said, her voice climbing into that whine she'd perfected as a teenager. "Were you?" I sipped my coffee. It was lukewarm. "Rachel asked about hotels 3 times over 9 days. You didn't answer once." "We were getting to it," Derek said. "When? After they booked their own rooms at full price instead of the group rate I negotiated 4 months ago?" Brent, Melissa's husband, finally spoke. He worked in corporate finance and never let anyone forget it. "Tom, I think what they're trying to say is there's a better way to handle family coordination. Your methods, while well-intentioned, are a bit outdated." "Outdated," I repeated. "Right. I mean spreadsheets?" He said it like I'd suggested using smoke signals. "There are apps now, platforms, ways to actually track engagement and optimize communication flow." "Optimize communication flow," I said. "Is that why 23 messages went unanswered?" Karen hadn't come to this brunch. She'd said she didn't trust herself to stay quiet. Now I understood why. The food arrived. Derek cut into his eggs Benedict while talking. "Look, Dad, we're not trying to push you out. We're trying to give you a break. You've been doing this for 30 years. You deserve to relax." "Retire," I said. "What?" "That's what you told Rachel, that I retired from planning, because of burnout." Melissa's face flushed. "That was just... We were trying to explain why you weren't responding to messages anymore." "But I wasn't not responding. You were. You took over the chat and then didn't answer anyone." "We were building a strategy," Derek said. "You can't just react to every message immediately. You have to curate the communication, create anticipation, manage the narrative." I looked at him. Really looked at him. When had my son become someone who talked like a LinkedIn post? "The anniversary party is in 6 weeks," I said quietly. "Every detail is finalized. I've been working on it since February. What exactly were you planning to contribute?" Derek and Melissa exchanged a glance, the kind of glance that told me they'd rehearsed this part. "We want to consolidate everything," Derek said. "All your contact lists, your vendor relationships, your planning templates, your client files. Everything should be centralized in one place where we can all access it." "Your client files?" I repeated. "Well, yeah," Melissa said, like it was obvious. "Your event planning business. We could really help expand that. Our generation understands social media, influencer partnerships, brand synergy. We could take what you've built and actually scale it." There it was, right out in the open now. "So this isn't about giving me a break," I said. "This is about taking over my business." "It's about evolving it," Brent said, waving his fork. "Look, Tom, you've done great work, but the industry is changing. If you don't adapt, you'll be left behind. Why not bring in fresh perspectives now, while you can still be part of the transition?" I set down my coffee cup. The toast sat untouched on my plate. "I need to use the restroom," I said, standing up. In the bathroom, I splashed cold water on my face, looked at myself in the mirror, 52 years old, gray at the temples, lines around my eyes from 30 years of logistics work, military training before that. I looked tired, but I wasn't burnt out. I wasn't retiring, and I sure as hell wasn't handing over everything I'd built to two kids who thought managing the narrative was more important than answering simple questions. I dried my hands, walked back to the table. They were whispering when I approached, heads together. They stopped when they saw me. I sat down, looked at Derek, then Melissa, then Brent. "No," I said. "No?" Derek frowned. "No. You're not getting my contact lists. You're not getting my vendor relationships. You're not getting my templates or my client files or any access to my business. You're 28 and 26 years old. You think you can do better? Build your own." Melissa's mouth opened. "Dad, we're trying to help you." "You're trying to help yourselves," I said. "You saw 30 years of relationships and reputation and work, and you decided you could just take it, rebrand it, call it yours." "That's not fair," Derek said, his voice rising. Other diners were starting to look. "What's not fair," I said, keeping my voice level, "is lying to our family, telling them I retired, letting their messages go unanswered while you figured out how to manage the narrative. What's not fair is trying to steal my livelihood while pretending you're doing me a favor." I stood up, pulled out my wallet, dropped 2 20s on the table. "That's for my coffee and toast," I said. "You three can figure out the rest." I walked out, didn't look back. My hands were shaking when I got to my car. Not from fear, from rage. I sat in the driver's seat, gripping the steering wheel, breathing slowly. My phone buzzed. A text from Karen. "How did it go?" I typed back, "They want everything. The business, the reputation, all of it." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, "What are you going to do?" I stared at that question for a long moment. What was I going to do? For 30 years, I'd been the reasonable one. The planner, the organizer, the person who made sure everything ran smoothly, who handled conflicts quietly, who kept the peace. I'd spent my whole life being the responsible adult. Maybe it was time to stop. I typed back, "I'm going to take it all back." Karen's response was immediate. "Good." I started the car, drove home, went straight to my office. I had work to do. My file cabinets held 3 decades of documentation. Every event I'd ever planned, every vendor contract, every client agreement, every testimonial, every photograph of successful reunions, anniversary parties, corporate retreats, community gatherings. I'd built something real, something valuable, something worth protecting. I pulled out the vendor contact list, 43 businesses across 3 counties, caterers, venues, entertainment, transportation, equipment rental, florists, photographers. I'd worked with all of them for years, some for decades. I started making calls. "Hey, Marcus, this is Tom." "Yeah, I'm good. Listen, I need to verify something. Did my son Derek or my daughter Melissa contact you recently about any events?" "They did." "Okay. What did they say?" "Uh-huh. And did they mention they were working under my business or starting their own?" "I see. Right. Well, I need to clarify something. They are not authorized to book events under my business name or use my accounts. Any future contact from them should be treated as a separate entity. I'm still very much active and running things. Yes, I'm sure. I know it's awkward, but I need to protect my business. Thanks for understanding." I made that call 43 times in 4 hours. Every vendor had been contacted, every single one. Derek and Melissa had reached out to all of them in the past 2 weeks, introducing themselves as the new generation of leadership for my company. Some vendors had been confused. Others had assumed I was retiring and my kids were taking over. A few had already made tentative bookings with them. I canceled those bookings, clarified the situation, locked down my accounts. By evening, my voice was hoarse, but every vendor was clear. Derek and Melissa had no authority. Any bookings they'd tried to make were void. Karen brought me dinner at my desk, soup and sandwich. "You've been on the phone for hours," she said. "Had to secure the perimeter," I said. She smiled. "You sound military again." I'd served 8 years in the Army before getting into event logistics. Some habits never left you. "They tried to book events using my business credentials," I said. "They contacted every vendor I've ever worked with. They weren't just taking over family planning, Karen. They were trying to take my company." She sat down in the chair across from my desk. "What are you going to do about the anniversary party?" "I'm going to run it exactly as planned," I said. "They can try to take credit if they want. Everyone will know the truth." My phone buzzed. A text from Derek. "What the hell did you do? Marcus from Premier Catering just called me and said we're not authorized to use your accounts." I texted back. "Correct. You're sabotaging us." "I'm protecting my business." "This is bullshit." I didn't respond. Let him stew. Another text came, this time from Melissa. "Dad, you're being really unfair. We were just trying to grow what you built. Why are you making this so difficult?" I typed, "Build your own." Dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. No message came. I ate my soup. It was good. Karen made good soup. "What's next?" she asked. "I need to talk to the family," I said. "Clarify what happened. Make sure everyone knows the truth." "They're going to fight back," Karen said. "Let them." That night, I drafted an email to the extended family. Careful, factual, calm. I explained that there had been some confusion about event planning responsibilities. I clarified that I was still actively planning events, including the anniversary party, and would continue to be the primary contact for all family gatherings. I noted that while Derek and Melissa had expressed interest in helping, they were not taking over, and any messages suggesting otherwise were mistaken. I didn't mention the business. That was separate, personal, between me and my kids. I sent the email to 37 relatives. Then I went to bed. This time, I slept. The aftermath started early. By 8 a.m. the next morning, my phone was ringing constantly. I ignored most calls, but when my brother Mark called, I answered. "Tom," he said without preamble. "What the hell happened last night?" "You weren't there?" "I was at Jennifer's table. I saw the whole thing. But I'm getting calls from Derek saying you publicly destroyed him for no reason." "No reason," I repeated flatly. "His version is that you misunderstood some harmless attempts to help, and you retaliated by humiliating him in front of the entire family." His version is a lie. Everything I showed last night was documented and verified. He tried to steal my business, cancel my event, and convince everyone I was mentally incompetent. Silence on the other end. Then, "I believe you. I saw the evidence. But he's calling everyone who wasn't there, trying to control the story." "Let him. The people who were there know the truth. Tom, he's your son." "He made his choice," I said. "I'm done protecting him from consequences." Mark sighed. "Fair enough. But you should know, he's not backing down. He's doubling down." After we hung up, I checked the family group chat. Derek had posted a long message at 3 a.m. What happened tonight was a betrayal. My father used a family celebration to launch a personal attack on me and my sister. We were only trying to help him, to ease his burden, to bring fresh ideas to family planning. Instead, he twisted our words, took things out of context, and publicly humiliated us. I'm hurt. I'm disappointed. And I'm done trying to have a relationship with someone who would do this to his own children. To everyone who believes his lies, I hope you never experience what it's like to be destroyed by a parent who can't let go of control. The responses were mixed. Some relatives expressed sympathy for Derek. "I'm so sorry you're going through this." But more pushed back. Uncle Frank. "Derek, I was there. I saw the actual evidence. Those weren't things taken out of context. Those were your exact words and actions, documented clearly." Rachel. "I have screenshots too. Everything Tom showed was real. You can't spin this. Jennifer, you tried to cancel the venue for your grandparents' party. That's not helping. That's sabotage. Derek responded, You're all taking his side because he's manipulated you for years. This is exactly what abusive parents do. Turn everyone against their children when they try to establish boundaries. I put my phone down. Let them argue. Karen was making coffee, watching me. He's calling you abusive, she said. I know. Doesn't that bother you? He's desperate. People who are caught lie louder. Let him exhaust himself. But over the next few days, Derek's campaign intensified. He posted on social media about toxic family dynamics and narcissistic parents. Melissa joined in with stories about feeling controlled and undervalued her whole life. They were trying to rebuild their narrative, position themselves as victims of a controlling father who couldn't handle them growing up. Some people bought it. People who didn't know the full story, who only saw two young adults talking about difficult family relationships. But the people who mattered, the ones who'd been there, who'd seen the evidence, who knew me, they didn't. My mother called on Tuesday. Tom, ignore them. Everyone who was at the party knows the truth. Let the children have their tantrum. I am ignoring them. Good. Your father and I want you to know we're proud of you, for standing up for yourself, for not letting them steal what you built. Thank you. And Tom, don't invite them to Thanksgiving. I laughed. Couldn't help it. Work became my refuge. I had 3 client events in December to finish planning. I threw myself into them, grateful for the distraction. But Derek wasn't done. On Wednesday, I got an email from Martin, one of my longest-standing clients. Subject line, concerning information. Tom, I received a call yesterday from someone claiming to be your son. He said you're no longer able to handle event planning due to health issues and that he's taking over your accounts. He offered to maintain continuity for my upcoming corporate retreat. I wanted to verify this with you directly before responding. Martin. I called Martin immediately. It's not true, I said. I have no health issues. Derek doesn't work for my company and never has. He's been trying to take over my business for weeks. I apologize that he contacted you. I figured it was something like that, Martin said. The whole call felt off. Too aggressive, too presumptuous. But I wanted to make sure. I appreciate you checking with me directly. Of course, though Tom, this seems serious. Your son is actively trying to sabotage your business. I'm handling it, I said. But was I? Derek had escalated from family manipulation to direct client interference. This was no longer about event planning or family dynamics. This was business sabotage. I called my lawyer, explained the situation. You have grounds for a cease and desist, she said after I finished. Possibly more if you can prove actual business losses. But Tom, this is your son. Are you prepared to take legal action against your own child? Was I? I thought about 30 years of building a reputation, thought about clients I'd served faithfully, thought about the business I'd created from nothing. Yes, I said, I am. The cease and desist letter was delivered on Friday. It demanded Derek and Melissa immediately stop, contacting my clients, using my business name, making false statements about my health or capacity, and attempting to cancel or modify my bookings. Derek called 20 minutes after receiving it. I didn't answer. He left a voicemail. A cease and desist? Your own son? What is wrong with you? This is insane. You're insane. Everyone was right. You've lost your mind. I hope you're happy, because you've lost your children. Forever. We're done. You hear me? Done. I saved the voicemail, added it to my evidence folder. Karen found me in my office that evening, staring at my computer. You okay? She asked. I took legal action against my own kids. They gave you no choice. I know. But still. She sat down across from me. Tom, they tried to destroy you. Your reputation, your business, your standing in your own family. They lied, they manipulated, they committed fraud. You didn't force them to do any of that. They chose it. They're my kids. They're adults who made adult decisions. Bad ones, criminal ones, technically. You're not punishing children for breaking curfew. You're protecting yourself from grown people who tried to steal your life's work. She was right. I knew she was right. But it still hurt. Christmas approached with an awkwardness that hung over the extended family like a weight. Normally, I'd have been planning the family gathering for months. This year, nobody mentioned it. My mother called in early December. "Tom, what are we doing for Christmas?" "I don't know," I said. "I haven't been asked to plan anything." Because Derek and Melissa said they'd do it. Of course they did. "Have they actually done anything?" I asked. "Not that I can tell. I asked Melissa last week what the plan was, and she said they were finalizing details. I asked again yesterday and got the same response." I waited. "Tom," my mother said carefully, "would you plan it? I know things are complicated right now, but I don't trust them to actually follow through. And I want the family together for Christmas." Even Derek and Melissa? Even them. They're still my grandchildren. And it's Christmas. I thought about that. Thought about sitting in a room with two people who'd spent weeks calling me abusive on social media, who'd tried to destroy my reputation, who'd served legal papers in return. "I'll plan it," I said, "but I'm not pretending everything's fine. If they come, they come. If they start something, I'll finish it." Fair enough. I spent 3 days planning a Christmas gathering at my parents' house. Nothing elaborate. We'd had enough drama for 1 year. Just a simple family dinner, 20 relatives, good food, low stress. I sent out invitations, included Derek and Melissa on the email list, but sent theirs separately with a note. "You're invited. Expected behavior, civility. No drama, no scenes. Come or don't, your choice." Derek responded within an hour. "Bold of you to invite us after what you did. Don't worry, we wouldn't attend your toxic gathering anyway." Melissa didn't respond at all. Fine. Their choice. But 2 days before Christmas, my mother called again. "Melissa called me crying," she said. "Said she wants to come for Christmas but is afraid of you." Afraid of me. That's what she said. That you've been threatening and aggressive. That she doesn't feel safe around you. I took a slow breath. "Mom, I've had 0 contact with them since the cease and desist. I haven't called, texted, or approached them in any way. The only thing I did was invite them to Christmas and tell them to behave civilly. That's not threatening." I know. But she was very convincing. She's lying. I know that too. But Tom, she's still my granddaughter. Can you just not engage with her if she comes? Let her attend without it becoming a thing? As long as she doesn't make it a thing, there won't be a thing. Thank you." Christmas Eve arrived. I showed up at my parents' house at 2 p.m. to help set up. Karen came with me. We brought food, set tables, arranged chairs. By 5 p.m., relatives started arriving. Cautious hugs, careful conversations, everyone aware of the tension, but trying to pretend normalcy. Rachel pulled me aside. "Are they coming?" "Don't know. Mom said Melissa might. This should be interesting." At 6:15, Melissa walked in, alone. No Ryan, no Derek. She looked smaller somehow, tired. She scanned the room, found me, and her eyes went wide like she'd seen a threat. Performance, I thought. She's performing fear. She hugged my mother, whispered something I couldn't hear, then carefully positioned herself across the room from me. I ignored her. Talked with my Uncle Frank about his new woodworking project. Discussed vacation plans with Rachel. Helped my father carve the turkey. Normal. I'd be aggressively normal. Dinner was awkward but functional. Melissa sat at the opposite end of the table, spoke quietly with whoever sat near her, avoided looking at me. After dinner, gifts. Small things, nothing elaborate. Melissa gave my mother a framed photo of herself. My mother thanked her politely, When it was my turn, I gave my mother a leather-bound photo album. "For the anniversary party photos," I said, "professional copies from the photographer." My mother paged through it. Tears filled her eyes. "Tom, this is beautiful." "You deserve beautiful memories." Melissa stood up abruptly. "I need to use the restroom." She left the room. Karen nudged me. "She's upset." "Not my problem." "Tom." "She tried to destroy me. Now she's performing victimhood. I'm not playing along." But 15 minutes passed and Melissa didn't return. My mother went to check on her. They came back together. Melissa's eyes were red. My mother looked worried. "Melissa would like to say something," my mother announced. Oh no. Melissa stood in the center of the living room, all eyes on her. Took a breath. "I want to apologize," she said quietly. "To everyone. For the drama. For the confusion. For..." She glanced at me. "For not understanding boundaries." I waited. There had to be more. "I thought I was helping. I thought Dad needed support. I was wrong about a lot of things." Her voice cracked convincingly. "I just want my family back." Several relatives looked sympathetic. Jennifer dabbed her eyes. Melissa looked at me directly. "Dad, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Can we please move past this?" The room waited, everyone watching me, judging how I'd respond. I could say yes. Accept the apology. Let everyone feel good about reconciliation on Christmas. But I'd learned something over the past 2 months. Words were cheap. Actions mattered. "Melissa," I said calmly, 3 days ago you were on Instagram calling me abusive. 2 weeks ago you were telling people I was dangerous. Last month you tried to steal my business. Now you're sorry?" Her face crumpled. Perfect tears. "I was hurt. I said things I didn't mean. You meant them. You just didn't expect consequences." "Tom," my mother started. "No," I said, standing up. "I'm not doing this. I'm not pretending everything's fine because it's Christmas. Melissa, if you're genuinely sorry, prove it. Stop posting lies on social media. Stop telling people I'm abusive. Stop trying to take what's mine. When you've done that consistently for a few months, then we can talk about apologies." "You're so cold," she whispered. "So hard." "I'm protected," I corrected. "There's a difference." She left, grabbed her coat, walked out without another word. The room sat in uncomfortable silence. Jennifer finally spoke. "Tom, that was harsh." "That was honest," I said. "She didn't come here to apologize. She came here to perform apologizing so everyone would pressure me to forgive her. I'm not playing that game." "It's Christmas," Jennifer said, "and she's a 36-year-old adult who spent 2 months trying to destroy me. Christmas doesn't erase that." Rachel spoke up. "He's right. Melissa was posting about him being dangerous literally yesterday. This apology was fake." "How do you know?" Jennifer challenged. Rachel pulled out her phone, showed an Instagram story from Melissa dated yesterday. Text over a photo. "Attending family Christmas despite having to face my abuser. Wish me strength." The room went silent. "She posted that before coming here," Rachel said. She was already framing this as her being brave to face her abuser. This wasn't an apology. This was content. Jennifer looked sick. "Oh, Melissa." "That's manipulative," Uncle Frank said. "That's calculated manipulation." My mother was staring at Rachel's phone. "She called him her abuser?" "Among other things," Rachel said. "She and Derek have been running a whole campaign. Tom's just the only one who won't pretend it's not happening." My father stood up, walked over to me, put his hand on my shoulder. "You did the right thing," he said quietly. "Don't second-guess it." The rest of Christmas Eve was subdued. People left earlier than usual, quiet goodbyes, uncertain hugs. Karen and I drove home in silence. "Do you regret it?" she finally asked. "Which part?" "Not accepting the apology." I thought about that, about Melissa's tears, about the family's discomfort, about the fact that I could have just said, "I forgive you," and made everyone feel better. "No," I said, "because it wasn't real. She's not sorry for what she did. She's sorry she got caught." "How do you know?" "Because if she was genuinely sorry, she'd have stopped the social media campaign first. She'd have made changes before asking for forgiveness. Instead, she wanted forgiveness so she could keep doing what she's been doing." Karen nodded. "You're right, but it's going to cost you." "Cost me what?" "Family goodwill. Some of them think you were too harsh tonight. Some of them haven't been watching her call me abusive for weeks." "I know, but they'll remember you refusing to forgive her on Christmas. That image sticks." She was right. I knew she was right. "I can live with that," I said. "I can't live with being manipulated." We pulled into our driveway, sat in the car for a moment. "What's next?" Karen asked. "I keep running my business, keep living my life, keep refusing to be walked on." "And Derek and Melissa? They've made their choice. I've made mine." "It's going to be lonely," she said quietly. "I know." But that night, lying in bed, I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Peace. Not happiness, not satisfaction, just peace. I'd stood up for myself. I'd refused to be destroyed. I'd protected what I built. The cost was high. 2 children who'd decided I was the enemy, family members who thought I was too harsh, a fractured, extended family. But the alternative was higher: losing myself, my business, my reputation, being erased from my own life. I'd chosen myself, and I'd do it again. January brought a brutal cold. Snow covered everything, the kind of winter that made you want to hibernate. I took 3 new client contracts, all referrals from satisfied customers. Business was growing. Derek and Melissa stayed silent. No calls, no texts, no social media posts about me. Either the cease and desist had worked, or they'd gotten bored. I told myself I didn't care which, but I was lying. Late at night, I'd check their social media, see them posting about their lives, their jobs, their friends, moving on like I'd never existed. It hurt more than I wanted to admit. "They're your kids," Karen said one night, finding me scrolling through Derek's Instagram. "It's okay to miss them. They tried to destroy me." Both things can be true. I closed the app. I don't know how to move forward. Do I wait for them to apologize? Do I reach out? Do I just accept that we're done? "I don't know," she said honestly. "But I know you can't control their choices. Only yours." My choice was to keep living, keep working, keep building. In mid-January, I planned a major corporate retreat for a tech company. 200 attendees, 3-day conference, complex logistics, the kind of job that made my reputation. I executed it flawlessly. The CEO approached me afterward. "Tom, this was incredible. Best corporate event we've ever had. I'm going to recommend you to every company I know." "I appreciate that. Can I ask you something? Someone warned me about hiring you, said your family situation was complicated and it might affect your work. But I didn't see any problems. Everything was perfect." My stomach tightened. "Who warned you?" "Some kid. Called himself your son. Said you were going through some mental health issues and might not be reliable." "Derek." "When did he call?" 3 weeks ago. Right after we hired you. He tried to convince me to cancel and hire him instead. Offered to do it for 20% less." The cease and desist had worked for 2 weeks. Then Derek had started again, more carefully this time. Not contacting existing clients, contacting new ones he thought I wouldn't hear about. "I'm sorry you were contacted," I said. "Derek doesn't work for my company. He's been trying to sabotage my business for months." I figured it was something like that. The whole call felt off, too aggressive. Made me want to work with you more, honestly. People who have enemies are usually doing something right. I thanked him. Packed up my equipment, drove home, called my lawyer. "He's violating the cease and desist. she said after I explained. Contacting clients, making false statements about your mental health. We can file for enforcement and escalate to a restraining order. Do it. Tom, this means court, public records, your son's name in legal documents. He made that choice. I'm just responding to it. The court filing went through in 2 weeks. Derek was served at his workplace. He called me an hour later. I answered. You're taking me to court? His voice was shaking with rage. Your own son? You violated a cease and desist. You continued contacting my clients. You're forcing this escalation. I'm trying to build my own business. Then build it. Don't try to steal mine. I'm not stealing anything. I'm offering a better alternative. By telling potential clients I have mental health issues? Silence. Derek, you're an adult. Act like one. This ends when you stop interfering with my business, not before. You're destroying our relationship over business. You destroyed our relationship when you tried to steal everything I built. I'm just protecting what's left. He hung up. The court hearing was set for March. I gathered documentation, client statements, voicemail records, email logs, everything proving Derek had systematically tried to sabotage my business. My lawyer was confident. You have overwhelming evidence. The judge will rule in your favor. What happens then? Restraining order. He can't contact your clients, can't make false statements, can't interfere with your business in any way. If he violates it, there are criminal penalties. Criminal penalties. Against my son. I thought about that. Thought about Derek in handcuffs. Thought about his mugshot. Thought about him with a criminal record because he couldn't stop trying to take what wasn't his. Is this really where we are? I asked Karen one night. He put you here, she said. You didn't choose this. I chose to fight back. You chose not to be destroyed. There's a difference. February was quiet. Derek stayed silent. No calls, no contact, no apparent sabotage attempts. I wondered if the court filing had finally scared him straight. Then, 2 weeks before the hearing, I got a call from my mother. Tom, we need to talk. Her voice had that tone, the serious tone, the bad news tone. What happened? Derek came to visit. He's very upset about the court case. I'm sure he is. Tom, he's your son. Can't you drop it? Work this out privately? We tried private. It didn't work. He kept violating agreements. He says you're being vindictive, using the legal system to punish him for family disagreements. Mom, he contacted my clients and told them I was mentally unstable. That's not a family disagreement. That's business sabotage. He's just trying to start his own career. By destroying mine? No, that's not acceptable. She was quiet for a moment. Tom, I'm asking you. Please drop this case. For me. The request hit hard. My mother asking me to let it go, to sacrifice my boundaries for family peace. I can't, I said quietly. If I drop this, he'll interpret it as permission to keep going. He has to learn that actions have consequences. He's learned. He's stopped, hasn't he? Only because there's a court date. The moment I drop it, he'll start again. You don't know that. Yes, I do, because that's what he's done every time. Promise to stop, then escalate when he thinks I'm not watching. My mother sighed. Your father and I raised you to be forgiving. You also raised me to protect myself, to stand up for what's right, to not let people walk over me. Even your own children? Especially my own children. They should know better. She hung up disappointed. I sat with that disappointment for a long time. The court date approached. My lawyer was ready. I was ready. Then, 3 days before the hearing, Derek filed a countersuit. Harassment, emotional distress, and defamation, my lawyer read from the filing. He's claiming you've been running a campaign to destroy his reputation and career. That's ridiculous. Of course it is. But it complicates things. Now we have to defend against his claims while pursuing ours. Can he win? No. His claims are baseless and he has no evidence, but he can drag this out, make it messier, cost more in legal fees. That was the point. Derek was raising the stakes, making it too expensive to pursue. I don't care, I said. We proceed as planned. The hearing was on a Wednesday morning. Cold, gray, miserable weather. Karen came with me. My lawyer met us outside the courthouse. Remember, she said, don't engage with him emotionally. Be factual, calm, professional. Let the evidence speak. Derek was already inside, sitting with his own lawyer, a young woman who looked fresh out of law school. He didn't look at me when I walked in. The hearing lasted 2 hours. My lawyer presented evidence, client statements, voicemail transcripts, email logs, everything documented clearly. Derek's lawyer tried to reframe it, claimed Derek was just trying to help struggling clients find better service, claimed the cease and desist was an overreaction, claimed I was being vindictive. The judge listened to both sides, asked pointed questions, reviewed documents, then ruled. Mr. Derek, you've violated a valid cease and desist order. You've contacted clients with false information. You've attempted to interfere with an established business relationship. The evidence is clear and overwhelming. Derek's face went pale. I'm granting the plaintiff's request for a restraining order. You are prohibited from contacting any of Mr. Tom's clients, past, present, or future. You are prohibited from making statements about his mental health or business capacity. You are prohibited from using his business name or reputation in any marketing materials. The judge paused. Additionally, I'm ordering you to pay the plaintiff's legal fees. Your conduct has been deliberately harmful, and you should bear the cost of defending against it. Derek stood up. This is bullshit. He's my father. He's supposed to— Mr. Derek, sit down, the judge said sharply. Being someone's child doesn't give you the right to sabotage their livelihood. This hearing is concluded. We walked out into the gray afternoon. Derek stayed inside with his lawyer. Karen squeezed my hand. You won. Yeah? You don't sound happy. I'm not. I just had to take my son to court and win a restraining order against him. That's not victory. That's tragedy. He forced it. I know. We drove home in silence. That night, I got a text from Derek. Just 3 words. You destroyed me. I stared at those words for a long time. Then I typed back, you destroyed yourself. I just refused to be destroyed with you. He didn't respond.